You know what I'm saying? It's me, straight in this hole. Yeah, Soldy gang, stand up. Because listen, I'm here with another independent, another takeover, another revolutionary. Listen, no one else is like this person. It's just, what can you say? So don't sleep on it, okay? You just can't. All right, listen, I'm here with the one and only. My friend, introduce yourself.
What's good? My name is Noghead. No Tooth Noghead, Noghead for short, or just Nog if that's too many letters. You can find me on all platforms, everywhere. Everywhere. I'm everywhere all at once, all the time.
Awesome, awesome. That's wonderful to know. Well, first questions first, okay? How did you find yourself into the underground music scene? How did you get here? How did it all start?
Oh man, I always loved music, of course. Well, everybody say that. You already knew that. And I just started with just like having an app on my Samsung tablet, dusty old ass Samsung tablet. Made beats on there. I started out as a producer, and my brother was super in the underground scene. He's not as much anymore, but he was super in the underground scene, and he was putting me on to all these people. I just kind of found myself, making more music, producing for people, doing this, doing that. Found my own artistry that way. Found a bunch of cool motherfuckers like Andrew Snakes and Moochie and a couple others that I didn't even know existed, that just kind of opened my eyes to this whole world of people and things going on. And it's just, I've been on the ride ever since.
That's awesome. For sure. Man, I remember back in the day, I used to have an iPad, right? And I used to get the auto rap app, you know what I'm saying? Where you could just say whatever and it would turn it into a rap song. You know what I'm talking about?
Nah, I'm not hip to that.
Oh my God.
That sounds ill though. What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy. It still might be on the App Store. It was called Smule, Smule auto rap.
Smule, that sound familiar. Smule sound familiar.
Yeah.
I use some shit called Music Maker Jam.
Music.
Just a bunch of loops. And I just put that shit together and I'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know what I was doing.
That's awesome. But now it's really, like a career for you, When did you decide to like take music seriously?
It was 2020, man. It was like I always thought about it because I was like a huge music nerd. But I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to rap or like do this or do that, because I've always been an artsy person. I like I claymate and I draw pictures and I like make models of things, like to do paper mache, like cosplay, fashion, all this stuff. But I was like, man, like music, I feel like is that one medium where I can really combine everything, and I just have so much to say and so much I want to make, so I just gotta like go ahead and do it. And so I downloaded FL Studio, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I should have watched like some tutorials. Later I did, but for like the first year in 2020, I just taught myself as much as I could, just to like learn everything and like be like, oh man, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then I started taking myself super seriously and realized there was an aesthetic that I wanted to put forth, that I wanted to actually like rap and sing on my songs, not just like make purely instrumental things. And so it's been 3 years now, because my first it's been 3 years because my first project was April 2021 and it was purely instrumental. So I've been really in it for 3 years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think a lot of people can resonate with that because like there's so much to pull from nowadays with access to the internet. A lot of people are inspired by just the things that they see. And in the underground, there's a lot of common aesthetics, mainly the Y2K aesthetic, because this is the time when we grow up and we have these themes of like a world that's already been explored and we try to look towards a better future. Is there any type of specific message that you try and convey through your music?
Yeah, I think I have a couple, so it's like it's hard to just like put one just through there, but I'd say a lot of it is I like to kind of draw my inspiration from a time that like is before my time, but still like feels so present with me, I guess. So it's similar in that Y2K vein. I just think it's a little bit of a different corner of it, you know what I mean? Just like a super niche corner of Y2K of just like these very like childlike nostalgic things are like right before my time, so I like wasn't there with them, but I'm discovering them now. And just kind of like the ability to bring yourself throughout different periods and to let yourself fully experience things. But one thing I will say is a big message of my music. It's just like when it come like feelings mean everything, and it's super like you can say it's generic, but it's like if something is super painful or if something is super beautiful, those are like equal in my mind of just like how much they make me feel. Like both will make me euphoric in a way because they're just both so intense emotions. Whenever you feel something intense, you have to capture it. Whether whatever art form it is, you have to translate it to some kind of medium. So like you're a painter, paint that picture, you know, you're a producer, write that beat, write that song, you know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. You know, and I think that's one of the special things about the underground is that, you know, it provides something that the mainstream doesn't. Like the mainstream is super commercial, and as a result, because it's so commercial, it's almost soulless, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And
There's just something lacking there.
And like I think that's why one of the reasons why it's popping off right now through things like TikTok. People really like gravitate towards that bedroom music sound. For sure. Is there like anything you can speak to, like anything you've learned from making music that you apply to your real life?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things, but I think most of it is just like conquering fears. I think is like the biggest thing that I've done through music because at first I didn't want to rap, right? I didn't want my voice to be on it because I hated my voice, and then I had this whole thing of like, dude, like, but I want to say this shit. I want to get my shit out there. I want to like speak my truths. I want to like paint pictures with my words. So I'm just gonna do it, even though I'm like super like I was at least super insecure about my voice. And then I kind of jumped that hurdle, and then I was like, oh wait, I can jump all these other hurdles. I'm gonna start singing too, and then I could start singing a little more. Kinda. That's a work in progress one, but also like I have crazy social anxiety, like as hell. I'm about to like fly out to Toronto and do my third live show, because it's just like I try and take myself out. I'm just like I'm so socially anxious, but I think a big part of your life and what music taught me is you got to conquer your fears. You got to get over hurdles like that if you want to like really see things through, because I hate the idea of somebody having a thought like, oh, I want to do this, but like I don't know if I can because I'm super socially anxious, you know what I mean, or I'm this or I'm that, so I don't think I can. I think jumping that hurdle is what proves to yourself you really can do whatever the fuck you want. And so that's the biggest takeaway from music, honestly.
Wow, yeah, that's inspirational as fuck, man. See, I learned what you're talking about through like another. It was some funny story. Okay, so I woke up one morning and my balls were aching, and I was like, "Yo, am I all right?" So I'm in the shower, I'm checking myself out, and I'm like, "Yo, do I have cancer?" You know, I really question my mortality. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I'm like, dude, if I were to die right now, would the world know me as I would want them to know? Or would they know me as just what I show, you know? Because I close a lot of stuff off, you know? I give certain information to certain people accordingly, you know? And it's like, damn,
Right.
I don't think the world would get to really see me the way I'd want me to, you know, to be seen.
Exactly.
So I think music is a way for me to personalize and romanticize my life and to also help that out with other people.
100%. 100%. Man, well said as fuck. That's a crazy way to come to that ultimatum. You wake up and your balls aching and you start getting profound.
I was being dramatic as fuck, but hey, I mean,
No, I feel you though. Like sometimes like my stomach will hurt before I go to bed and I'll have similar thoughts. I'll be like, man, like if I died right now, would I be okay with my legacy? No. And then I like pop up and then I
Yeah.
start working or something. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how shit goes down like that.
yeah, I
That's
think
nuts.
I think it's a common consensus nowadays with the advent of social media. Like people are always comparing themselves to one another, And I don't know. I mean, a lot of young men feel this way with the emergence of red pill and all this crazy shit. You know, like
Yeah.
you really can't afford to be average in today's world. You know.
No, 100%. And that's what's crazy too is I don't think anybody is. I think that's the thing, and I don't remember who told me this, and I wish I did so I could thank them. I just have this phrase floating around in my head that's nobody in the entire world can make the art that you do except for you. Which seems like such just like a blatant phrase, but it's true. It's like, oh, whatever you put out in the world would not exist if it weren't for you. You are literally like manipulating things around you to make like exactly what you want appear in the world, and nobody else can do that but you within your own right.
For
Like
sure.
if I put out a song, you know what I mean, like no one else can put out that song but me. I just think that's crazy. I think everybody got the potential. You know, if somebody wants to like lay low, like that's cool, but I think like if you really want people to really understand who you are, and you know everybody in the underground, I'm sure we all share this sentiment of just like we want to be seen and show like our colors like that. You know, you can't afford to just be like some guy, you know what I mean? You gotta be that
Yeah,
guy, right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know, that's one of the main reasons why I got into this community in the first place was that need to be understood. You know, but I notice a lot of people nowadays just want to be a rapper or whatever, an artist, just to look cool. You know, to get all the perks, and they don't really have the connection with that music. You know, have you experienced anything about the underground that you don't really like?
I'm trying to think. I think there's one thing that I don't like, but I understand it, and that's just like the amount of people who bag on other people for other things. And it's like hate's gonna be everywhere. And like hate makes sense to some extent in the sense of just like you're giving somebody criticism. But a lot of times it's like criticism shouldn't be that shallow. Like sometimes people in the underground like that just are just like so quick to dismiss something because it's not their cup of tea, you know what I mean? Or another thing that like, and this is so like stereotyping of like some of the underground, and that's just like they want to do like the same thing somebody else is doing, or they don't want to get too experimental, or they want to play it safe. I think what the underground stand for me is deviating from that. I just think it's crazy that sometimes people don't deviate from that and then still call themselves underground like that, or claim to be underground, and just like they don't take risks like that. But other than that, nah, man, I love everybody I've met in the underground. You know what I mean? There's some weirdos that I love, and there's some weirdos that I hate. You know what I mean? But like, I'm never gonna bag on somebody's art just because, you know, like I don't like it. You know what I mean? And I think it's crazy that people do that, and people get jealous too. People be like, "Oh man, no, like this is super out there," and like that is kind of cool, but nah, I'm gonna type something rude as hell on TikTok. 'Cause, you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's just corny to me.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a way to go about showing judgment. You know,
Yeah. Like you gotta tell people what's up, but like, I just think people do it without actually thinking about why they dislike it, and I think that
sure.
that's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, I think it's just it's a process. It's a process. It's very human to judge. Everybody judges each other, but you know, there's a way, like you said, to just say it without being a complete asshole. You know, because this is the thing, and it goes back to what you said earlier. Like, you're the only one having your thoughts. You're the only one putting out what you're putting out, right? So that also means 99% of the people you come into contact with aren't going to have the same vision as you. You know, they aren't going to actually see what you see. So whenever I pass judgment onto somebody, you know, I have to come in with that mindset. Like, I may not be seeing what they're seeing or what they're hearing, you know, and especially with art. You know, that's just a common ground.
Right.
And another thing, right? With TikTok, what you mentioned earlier is, you know, common as fuck. How do you feel about the direction of the underground right now? Everybody's getting a little bit of momentum, a little bit of clout. You know, how do you feel about that?
I think it's great. I think that there's a bunch of motherfuckers that I'm seeing start to like climb up and go these places that I'm just like, wow, that's so cool. Like, you posted Day Love Curvy the other day, I love They Love Kirby. My homie Jaquez, he actually drew his profile picture for him. And then I found like the other day that my homie Moochie and him, they're like cousins, and I was like, damn, it's
Oh
such a
wow,
small world. Yeah, I
that's
was like, what the
crazy.
fuck? I was like, yeah, like all this shit is like connected, so like it's crazy, but yeah, it's just like even just being like in the Discord like last night, the Vanguard, shouts out the Vanguard. Uh, I was just like, man, like there are so many cool motherfuckers, and you can see like there's so much potential. It just feels, it really does feel like a big old extended family. You know what I mean? Like you got some cousins over here that's like, oh, you might not fuck with these cousins as much, but like there are so many cousins throughout just like the underground. It just is like, it feels like a family. So like anytime I see somebody going up, I'm just like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Especially when like you keeping up with somebody, you there super early and you see them start cracking in some numbers, them getting recognition, people seeing the art for what it truly is, picking up their slang, picking up like the cool things that they like invented and threw into the world, and then being like, yeah, like that is so cool to me, dude. It blows my mind.
For sure. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just immensely inspirational because, and this is kind of the reason why like I made the Vanguard or whatever, like or why that exists or why I'm pushing that as much is because like everyone's able to do this shit independently in their own bedroom without having some label overwatching them, managing their decisions. So naturally, you get to say what you want. And as I said earlier, like people come to the underground because it doesn't provide. People come to the underground because the mainstream doesn't provide what the underground does, which is that more personalized connection. And you can even hear it within the music. People don't even know what to call this type of music. They just call it TikTok music or hyper pop or core, and that's not, it's just people making music what they like. And I think it's important that we maintain that for as long as possible.
Exactly, I couldn't agree more.
For sure. All right, next question, a little bit more personal. If you could have 3 superpowers, what would they be and why?
Oh shit. Alright. So first one is weird as shit. I want permeation. Like, you seen My Hero?
No, I need to watch it.
Yeah, fucking okay, so there's this motherfucker named Mirio. And he has this ability called permeation, and he can just basically go through walls. He can go through like the ground and like swim through the ground. He can just like pop his head out of objects. He can make himself like permeable, so like if somebody punches him, he can be permeable and just go right through him, and then he can dodge, unpermeate, and then just whack they shit. And I think that's so cool, so I want that ability. Man, that's where it gets hard, is after that.
That's a really good one though. I love that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Teleportation probably is super generic, but like thinking of like, I'm trying to think, it's between teleportation and flying, right? Because teleportation is super convenient. You can just like wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But flying, you get to like look down on everybody. You can just be like, "I peace, I'm out," and just like fly away. Like, I don't know what's cooler. Like teleport might be cooler away because you're just in like your homie's bedroom. You're like, I got dip. And
Yeah.
gone. So I'm gonna say teleportation for number 2. Number 3, I want something like super niche for number 3. I want like some weird shit. I want to be able to do like animation, not like quite reanimation, but like I could like say like I had like this hourglass right here. I could just like make it alive and take away its
Whoa,
consciousness.
that's crazy.
Like some shit like that.
Yeah, that's actually like top 10. Like that's the best one I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah.
think about what the fuck the Sharpie would say. Like, how crazy would that be?
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, give that shit consciousness. See what's going on.
damn. Wow. Yeah.
I want to like talk to my stuffed animals and shit. See what they got to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Speaking of consciousness, how do you feel about AI, bro?
Man, I have this conversation with my homies all the time. I'm very bittersweet about it. I kind of see it from both sides. I think that it can be an amazing tool in a lot of things, and a lot of like I feel like it's the equivalent to the like when the internet first came to be, right? I think that it's one of those things. It's a brand new like kind of ushering in an era that scares a lot of people, but it also makes a lot of people kind of like excited towards this technological progression. I feel both ways because I am on one end, I hate how AI can replicate a dead man's voice like that. That shit freaks me out. You know what I mean? When I hear like a Lil Peep song in 2023 that's new because somebody made Lil Peep say some shit. That shit freaks me out. But on the other end, to like devil's advocate, and I do believe this, I think that when it comes to like people being scared of AI threatening art, back to what I said earlier again, I don't think that AI could like take away an artist's swag like that. I think it's a little dystopian that the idea of the fact that like you could have a label could make an artist that is just AI, that's just faceless. They could give it a face through AI of a person that doesn't exist. And I think that's insane, but I think I'm just bewildered by it overall. I think parts of it are interesting to me, parts of it scare me, and parts of it I'm just like, I don't really see it as a threat to my art as much, but I can see how it can threaten art in a way, and that does, you know, make me dislike it. So I lean a little more towards not a fan.
For sure. Yeah, me too. You know, if it was my way, bro, I'd live a much more off the grid lifestyle, but I want a lot of things, so you know I have to do stuff for it in order to get it right.
Exactly.
But I think whenever technology intersects with humanity, like mimics humanity, whenever I see those robots and they try and give them human faces, I'm like, why are you even doing that? You could just give it an emoji for a face, not a try all the animations. I'm like, that's so weird. It's a waste of time, and we're never gonna see the damn thing as human anyway, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And whenever we start to give AI like, you know, making an artist, I think it's dystopian because it's soulless, right? We know that deep down it's soulless and it's mimicking what a human would do. And I think whatever art is, you know, art is intrinsically human. It has to come from a human because it's an expression of human action. So like when they kill, bro, when you have somebody like Juice World or Lil Peep or X, for example, and they take their voice, it's like that's evil. That's evil.
That's what I'm saying. Like that shit makes me so fuck. That's the shit that really makes my blood boil. Cause like people always make the argument like, oh, AI is gonna like take over artists or they're gonna take over humanity. I'm not scared of that. That's not like part of the thing for me. Like I don't think that they can make the kind of art we can anyways, you know what I mean? They have to use us as a base, like AI has to use real humans as a basis anyways. But the existence of it and being used in music and like replicating people's voices, especially once again, ones that are dead, like I said, that's the shit that's like, no, fucking, that's a Pandora's box that should never have been opened.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, damn. Trying to come up with some more questions. What is your creative process like? How do you go about making a song, and do you experience any blocks? How do you get over those?
Yeah, I have blocks every once in a while, but not very often. I'm usually inspired by everything around me almost all the time, but my process usually is if I'm just making a song, sometimes I open my DAW and I kind of just like mess around with things, you know what I mean? I kind of like get a concept in my head as I'm working around it. But if I'm making like a project or an album or a music video, I direct all my own music videos. I pull out my sketchbook and I kind of draw pictures of like kind of what I see in my head. Like I'll see like something super surreal in my head, or I'll see like this heart with eyes, and I'll kind of like draw it out. I'll give it like a color palette and I'll just kind of like draw, and if I have a video idea, I'll start like storyboarding by making like squares and just like drawing things down. And then as I stare at it, I start kind of like getting melodies in my mind from the pictures that I draw. I'm just like, hold on, there's like a connection here. Or it'll be vice versa. Sometimes I'll just be fucking around on my piano and then I'll be like get a picture in my head and then I gotta draw it. But then usually I draw a bunch of pictures and then I start like making these songs and I have these concepts in my brain, and then I make the beat based off of a feeling, and then I put the lyrics in usually based off of a moment, you know what I mean, depending on what it is. Sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's just like, oh man, I hate the fact that like I'm still in bed right now when I could be up doing this, or I hate the fact that XYZ, you know, with this girl or whatever. Or I love the fact that XYZ with this girl, you know what I mean? But, you know, a lot of times it's just like the actual production is like a feeling that I have, and then I just kind of like, you know, keep like playing chords, using synths, making drums until it feels right. You know what I mean? When I have like a project like that. When I'm just making a song for fun, usually I just fuck around with a bunch of things, sample a lot of video games and shit like that, and just, you know, let the ideas flow, see what happens.
For sure. Yeah, man. I think you touched in on something that's really important is, you know, whenever I close my eyes, and listen to music, I see things too, you know? And that's kind of what I think about when I record music, especially when I say the words or think about my delivery when I record, is its application in my head. Like, if I close my eyes, where am I? Am I in a dark city,
Right,
going fast as fuck? Or shoot, am I in a not cool wonderland with 72 virgins or some shit like that? You know, it's like,
yeah, exactly.
I have to take the listener out of their seat, you know, and tell the story to them, you know, with music, audio. But when they close their eyes, I want them to see what I'm seeing, you know. How do you feel? How do you feel about the modern like intersection of art, like with music and music videos, and like people getting inspired from video games, and they're putting the stuff from the video games and the music, like that fusion? How do you feel about that?
I think it's 64,000% necessary. I think it is one of my favorite parts about it is the blending of mediums, of being inspired, because like that's why I started making music, is because I grew up playing a shit ton of video games on like my DSi and my N64, and being like, oh yeah, like this is so cool, I want to make tracks like this, I want it to feel like you jumping into one of those paintings from Mario 64 and shit like that. And I think that's so necessary to A, draw inspiration, but B, like use that in your creation of music videos, blend your mediums. Like I said, I direct my own music videos, I claymate, I, you know, do fashion, all the above, you know what I mean? You gotta like, it all melds together, and I think it's so necessary for an artist to not just be in that lane of music, but to really like flesh out their aesthetics and what they're going for. Be like, I have a visual for you, so this song can paint part of the picture, this video can paint part of the picture, you know what I mean? And I just think the fusion of just like both what you're inspired by, like video games and anime and shit like that, and then like the fusion of you flesh out your aesthetics past just like the song itself. I think that's so necessary. I think that's what makes an artist that much more greater.
Absolutely. Man, listen, now's the part of the interview where if you want to give any special shout outs, any disses, or talk about whatever you want to talk about, now's the time to do so.
Shit, all right, man. Well, first off, shouts out Soldy, man, 100%.
Thank you very much.
Shouts out my boy Astro for putting me on to Soldy, man. I ain't got nobody to diss. I have no enemies. Not in the music world, at least. Yeah, I mean, I got a full album visualizer of my last album, Stop It Now I Mean It. It's out on YouTube under the name Noghead. It's pretty sick. New shit coming that I don't want to talk about too much because I don't have it fully fleshed out, but a lot of cool shit. I'm doing a show June 15th in Toronto, Canada. I'm flying out from the US to go do it. I don't know when this is dropping, but hey, show out, show up.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's it. That's all.
Listen, the socials will be put down in the description below, so do not sleep on my guy. Listen, we're on the come up. It's the revolution, and you don't want to be the guy stuck in 2016. You can't afford to sleep on nobody like this anymore. Listen, it's been Saintly Silas the Solely Man, and I'm out. There we go.
Hell yeah.